ready?
Ready.
All right, here we go. So I guess we haven't visited since the end of the season, so I'm sure you have a lot of questions. This is an important week for us, especially as coaches. This is, although we spent some time the Senior Bowl and we watched a lot of the players on tape, this is a great event for us to get a lot of exposure to the players in this year's draft. This is the time of year, obviously we got free agency on the short horizon here, and the draft is certainly another place where we're going to try to answer some of the questions that we need to answer regarding our roster. I think last year we made progress from a year ago, especially late in the year. I think we played offensively. I think we averaged 28 points the last 8 games of the year. When we finally started blocking better, you could see the production of the quarterback and the runner was better, and we played a lot better from that standpoint. I think special teams contributed well, and we did some good things on defense, but I think it's safe to say for us to finish games the right way and win enough games to get in the playoffs and compete for a Super Bowl victory, win a championship, we need to get better, and this is the time of year when you do that. And so this is an important event. Since the last time we spoke, went through the process, we lost 3 coaches who went places for really promotions, which I've learned along the way it's important to let guys explore that. So Lou went to become the defensive coordinator at the Bengals. We lost Deshae, who was our number 2 secondary coach, to become the main secondary coach at Chicago, and then Robbie Leonard left to coach the inside backers at the Dolphins. So we hired Henry Baker. We just recently hired Everett Withers, and then we also hired Mike Dawson to coach outside backers. So I got 3 new coaches, and so that's sort of what we've been doing in the background. So with that, I'll take your questions. Well, I'd like to see what he did last year, next year, and I think along the way, he was having great success. But when he was asked about it, he said, I'm just starting, I just really need to focus on the details of what I do. And he did that all year, and I think that's why he had a season like he did. He's training hard. He's doing what most players do this time of year. They get away. But I've been in, contact with him mostly through text, but I saw him recently out on the West Coast, and, he looks like he's doing what he needs to do. Well, I think Eli can help us win games, and he proved when we started, the players around him started playing better, that he can play at a very high level and help us win games. So, yeah, at this point, I want Eli back. He's back. Get ready to go with him.
When did you fully expect him, just to be clear, you fully expect him to be back?
I fully expect him. And, again, you're going to ask me about particular players. Dave will tell you, and he's going to speak to you later, I'm a body collector. I want to keep all the players we have and add a lot of new ones. And so I really feel that way. I really feel that way about Eli.
When do you get involved in the evaluation process as a coach? How much is that back in your house?
Well, I'm intimately involved in it. Both the free agents and then obviously the draft players. And so it's very collaborative. We all want to hear what everybody has to think about every player in every situation. We talk about it frequently with ownership, and we just try to make the best decision. And if it's a matter of, this player is no longer going to be here, let's get a guy that's better. And so that's what we're trying to do.
You talk about being a body collector.
Go ahead.
You talk about being a body collector, and obviously there are a couple quarterbacks that could be there on the board at number 6. What do you look for in a young quarterback? What do you value out of a potential quarterback?
Well, I think they got to have the traits you're looking for to play the position, and times have changed. There's quarterbacks come in all shapes and sizes, and then you obviously have to watch them play. They need to be productive. They need to make good decisions. They got to know how to throw the ball accurately, throw the ball on time. They got to lead their team to victories, and they got to do all the things necessary to play the position. And so that's what we look at. And we evaluate all the quarterbacks every year, regardless of whether it's perceived we might be looking for one.
What's your scouting report on the one from Vanderbilt?
The Vanderbilt quarterback. Well, I'm extremely proud of him. You know, he's made great decisions. You know, he did an excellent job in high school, giving himself the opportunity to go to a place like Vanderbilt. Graduated in 3.5 years, helped them win games, and I just, he's a good player. He's a good player.
There's a quote you said last year that preferring taller quarterbacks. How does that's made a lot of headlines the last couple weeks. How does that fit in with Kyler?
Yeah, I think you're digging into something. I think, you know, obviously the player has to be productive. And as I just mentioned, quarterbacks come in all shapes and sizes. You know, Russell Wilson won a Super Bowl. So, you know, I think you got to look at the total player. You got to look at his productivity. And you got to look at whether he fits. And I think we as coaches then will use their skill sets to the best of their ability to try to get the most out of them and help you win games. So I think that's – I'm sorry.
What are you going to be looking for from Kyler? What did he show you to
Yeah.
persuade you he's out?
No, we're going to try to get to know him, going to watch him compete, try to find out who he is as a person and a player. Some of the quarterbacks we got a jump start on because of the Senior Bowl, but Kyler is a young player that I haven't met yet, and so it'll start with, hey, how you doing?
Does the baseball alternative scare you with Kyler?
No, I'm going to kind of keep that. That's going to run parallel to our decision making, whether we like him or not.
Pat, with Eli being back, how important do you feel it is to, with a 38-year-old quarterback going into the last year of his contract, to try to get the next in line? Because this draft class meshed with that.
Yeah, I think we're always trying to, and again, there's all these narratives and, the next franchise quarterback, replace this guy, do all this. And, we're trying to make our team better. And we certainly, it's no mystery. Eli's closer to 40 than he is 20. I mean, that's no mystery. And certainly we're going to try to do the very best we can to get the best players, especially the one that's playing quarterback.
How do you scout the AAF? How does that factor in?
Well, we'll watch the games. I haven't had an opportunity to see much. I'm kind of been following it, and I've got some good friends that are involved in that league. So, it's a league where guys are getting an opportunity to develop, especially at the quarterback position and some of the skill player positions. I don't know much about the games yet. I haven't had a chance to watch many of them, or really any of them. I've just seen segments of games. So yeah, we'll evaluate it, and it'll give us an opportunity to see these guys develop.
This is a question that's out there with the quarterback this year, specifically as Kyler's in the draft.
Sure.
How small is too small for a quarterback?
I don't know what's too small. You've got him, Russell Wilson's 5'10". I guess we haven't seen Kyler be measured yet, but when you watch him on tape, he's an outstanding player, and for a sub 6-foot player, he only had 5 balls batted down. So that's why I say you got to really look at the player and how he competed, how he helped his team win games, how he moved his feet. You got to look at all of it and then factor it in and decide if that player's for you.
Pat, what's your position on whether replay should be expanded to include?
Oh, I don't know. I feel like this is a human game, played by humans, officiated by humans, and we've done a lot to help get things right, and I think there'll be conversations about making sure that continues to happen and try to find ways. I don't know what I don't know how the language would read to expand it, but I think what's interesting about all of it is if something's wrong, I think we all want to find a way to make it right. And I think that's what initially what replay was all about. And we got a lot of very smart people, much smarter than me, trying to figure out what's the best thing. And, the good thing is we talk constantly about trying to make changes and improvements, and I'm sure we'll do some. Yeah, I mean, you look at the core traits, and that's why I say this. Once you've seen that they're a really good player, you got to determine whether they're a very good decision maker, and that crosses over into all areas of their life. because we all know what we're looking for from the face of our franchise. And when a game is over, they ask a lot of people what happened, but every week they ask the head coach and the quarterback what they think. And so that player is thrust into a position of leadership and being the face of the franchise. So decision-making is important, accuracy, timing, all those things. And I think we're looking for all that. No, I think, we're going to look at the player and decide whether he's the guy that we want to, be with the Giants.
What's your initial assessment overall quarterback class coming obviously you're not only part of it.
Yeah, I mean, I've watched. There's a lot of really good players, in my opinion, playing quarterback this year that we're evaluating. So, nice try. I'm not going to sit here and evaluate them for you, but you know what I mean.
Overall, like,
Pat's got a tie on, so he thinks he can.
do you think it's a strong class, stronger than last year?
I don't know. There was a lot of good quarterbacks, Jordan, and I think there's a lot in this year's draft as well.
Coach, are there any important thresholds for quarterbacks as far as you hear sometimes people say 9.25 inch?
Yeah.
Are those important?
Some of the numbers are important. We're obviously looking for things that are elite in a player, and again, they come in all shapes and sizes.
Kind of we talked to Landon in the last week.
Yeah, I've spoken to Landon throughout. He's been in the building, rehabbing and working out. So, but I haven't since the report. I think it was reported with way more drama than what actually happened. But yeah.
Do you expect him to be on the team next season?
Well, as I mentioned earlier, I want all our players back. So, but beyond that, it's free agency. This is the wrong time for me to be commenting on any of that.
Are you aware of there being active negotiations with Landon?
I'm aware that he's a free agent, right? And I'm aware of the fact that there have been conversations.
I know what the idea from your perspective, is it easier to compartmentalize and say, okay, last year was last year, or does it help you since you pretty much had an exhaustive evaluation?
Yeah, now you bring up a good point. I stood here last year, and Dave too. Dave was very new, having been, obviously Dave was with the organization for many years and was away for a few. So we were very new in the process, listening to what those that were at the Giants were telling us about the players. But, we have a much better view in our eyes of what our team is all about. And, we took over a 3-13 team. I think we took, we made strides this year. We certainly are not good enough in really any area. And so we know specifically those areas where we need to get better. And I think that's what, that first year can do for you.
Just to clarify, you said that there's been conversations. Do you know if you guys have extended an official offer on a multi-year deal?
I wouldn't talk about that. That's this is the business time of year. I know that there's been conversations. Now, what those conversations are, I would never tell you.
When you're looking at prospects, is it the consistency of their elite traits that make them a full prospect or just a good college player?
At all positions?
At all.
Yeah, there is. I mean, there's things we're looking for, and really as a coach, we go back to, we watch the tape and we watch them do what they do, because there's a lot of players where you say, you turn the tape off and you say, darn, that guy is a really good football player. Then you go and look and maybe his measurables aren't to what the standards might be, but you still love the player and you want to work with them. And then there's other guys that have the elite measurables. And then you go watch the tape and you say, he's okay. And that's where it becomes a little bit subjective, and that's why getting to know the player, getting to know whether he's going to be a good teammate, if he appreciates what it means to have relationships with coaches, that's why all this is important, because we get to know the player a little bit more intimately.
There was a lot of talk last year about how in
Yeah.
A year into this thing, where does your relationship stand with him?
I think it's good. I really do. I think, I've communicated with him frequently in the last few weeks. It's unfortunate he wasn't able to finish the season. But no, it's good. It's solid. And he's like many of our other players. He's off living. I think he's in California now, but he travels quite a bit. But he does a great job of staying in shape, and look forward to having him back.
Are you guys considering trading Jeff?
I wouldn't talk about that, but I'm looking forward to having him back here in April and moving forward with the rest of the guys.
It's not an element of quarterback that's just either they have it or they don't versus something that maybe taught, kind of cultivated in your mind.
There is. I think you can say, okay, this guy has got it. And I'll go back to what I was saying about measurables. Some of these guys, have really good measurables, or they put up good numbers, but might not have as good a feel for the position as some other guys. And that's why this is really an interesting process. You've got some small college guys that have played well, and then you have guys that played on a big stage that, have done a good job, but some of their success is based on the fact they're playing with great players. So that's what's really interesting about this, is trying to predict and then pick the one that's going to have success.
Okay, we'll do three more questions for Coach.
I think it's a little bit subjective, but you look at the young man, and you just kind of look at him and you say, okay, this guy's got potential to grow and get better. I think at this stage all the players do to some degree, but some certainly have more room to grow than others.
Obviously,
knowing that it sounds like you might be lined up that this player, whoever the draft quarterback, won't have to come in, won't have to start right away, won't have to be the Does that add to the evaluation rather than having somebody who needs to come in and play and start?
Well, I think that the decision to pick that player it's got to be independent of that. But I think, that's going to be a great thing for a player if that happens. I've spoken frequently about what I think of Eli and how he handles himself and how he prepares, and really everything he does behind the scenes. And I think a young player would greatly benefit from that. We all want to learn from somebody that's done it, players, coaches, and he's done it at a very high level. And so being in a room with him, I think, would only help that
I
player.
know you said your goal is always to win as many games as possible. That would take you about a year.
No doubt.
And you also said that Eli's closer to 40 than he is 20. How do you balance a potential quarterback versus a guy that you can plug and play right away? Like, how do you evaluate that and balance that out?
Well, I think the plug and play versus the guy that you're still looking to play the best guy. Yeah, you're still looking to play the best guy. I've been in situations where, Sam Bradford started the first game. I was in another situation where Donovan McNabb didn't start till week 8. In fact, Doug Peterson was the starter. You've seen in Kansas City where Mahomes really didn't play the first year. So there's a lot of different models for that, just speaking specifically to the quarterback.
I guess what I'm saying is you look at, needs on the offensive line, defense.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we're trying to get better in all positions, and running parallel with that is all the things that everybody has questions about.
Pat, how big is mobility?
Last one, guys.
Looking for a quarterback. Like Haskins and Murray, for example, both really good players.
Sure.
Murray with mobility, Haskins with arm. Just curious, in your offense, how much you value that?
No, I really value a guy that can move around, because it doesn't mean he's a runner. It just means he has a way to clean his feet in the pocket or scramble when necessary. Typically if you're going to have long drives and do it on a consistent basis, somewhere in that drive the quarterback has to do something with his feet to keep a drive alive or get a first down. And even guys that are not considered mobile, it might be subtle movement in the pocket. So that mobility, I think, is very important. I think it's essential, really, for a quarterback to have great success.
All right, appreciate it, Coach.
Good.